He will flip-flop on any issue. He can be bought and sold. The dude's a bitch. Logan Paul is a bitch.
City of Angels, I'm back.
First things first, I want to make it very, very clear that Logan Paul is absolutely and utterly a tool of the Matrix. He's a bought and sold individual with no soul. He doesn't stand up for anything, and he doesn't mean anything he says. He gets pieces of paper from Susan or whoever else telling him what he's allowed to say on his channel to retain it.
You believe that?
100%. Not only do I believe it, he's proved himself. He will flip-flop on any issue. He can be bought and sold. The dude's a bitch. Logan Paul is a bitch, and I will say that here publicly. If anyone wants, I'll fight him for free. The guy's an idiot.
No money needed to fight Logan Paul.
Logan Paul doesn't believe in any of the things he says. Logan Paul is a man. If you ever were unfortunate enough to consume his content, I get sent clips of it all the time by people mocking him. As soon as something comes out, whether it's Harry Styles wearing a dress, whether it's Lil Nas twerking on the devil, whether it's this, he just sits there and goes, yeah, this is great. Yeah, this is great. He is a talking piece. He is the mouthpiece for the agenda. The people have come along, people who are trying to force a narrative, and they said, look, we need to have some degree of control over the exact demographic that Tate has control over. We're going to use Logan Paul and attempt to use him. And he sits there and just purports the bullshit points of view that the whole Hollywood establishment want him to report. He doesn't believe in the things he said. He's told what to say. And because he was canceled before and it emotionally destroyed him, he sat on camera crying his eyes out like a little girl instead of being a man about it. He is so fearful of the mob, he's so scared of being canceled again, that he's gonna sit there and say anything he's told. He doesn't believe that shit. Before I was canceled, him and his boyfriend Mike did endless videos supporting me, laughing about me, saying how funny I was, tagging me on Instagram, inviting me places, etc. The second I'm canceled, they flip reverse it and shit themselves because they don't want to get canceled too. They are children. That's all they are. So Logan Paul's a bitch. That's the first thing about Logan Paul. I'm glad it happened just for that alone, because it's actually very clear. If you go to Logan Paul's last podcast where he's discussing me, all of his fans, and we'll talk about fans and viewers in a minute because I think they're very different things. All of his fans, which he has none of, all of his viewers are sitting there insulting him, saying, bro, you're a fucking bitch. Like everyone, all of his own watchers are calling him names because it's so transparent and so obvious what he's doing.
Fans versus viewers.
Fans versus viewers, very different things. So he doesn't have any fans, he has viewers. Let's assume what I'm saying is correct. Let's assume that the social media companies, when they banned me, set their media machine to all release thousands of news articles at the same time, trying to convince the world I'm an evil man. If they had that degree of power and influence, which I think we can all probably agree they do, don't you think they'd take their number one talking piece to the demographic, which is my fan, and give him a piece of paper and tell him what to say? Does that not make sense? Does that make sense to say, well, we told all the news to say Tate's bad, and all of his fans are 18 to 25-year-old men. Who do we have on YouTube who obeys us like a little cuck who speaks to 18 to 25-year-old men? Logan Paul. Okay, Logan, here's your piece of paper. Do you want to get canceled again, Logan? No, you don't want to get canceled, do you? No, Mom.
You're saying a call like that was made?
100%. The dude's a bitch. He 180'd from a super fan to talking about my rhetoric being dangerous in 24 hours. No, I'm not completely familiar with the absolute mechanics of his cancellation. All I do know is that he cried on television repeatedly. So the dude was obviously emotionally affected by it and is fearful of it. And when someone is scared of something, that's the tool you use to manipulate them. He needs them. And the reason he needs them is because Logan Paul doesn't have fans, he has viewers. And that's what's actually been highlighted to me significantly since my banning, that there's a massive difference between those two things. Logan Paul is a person who needs the platforms and needs the algorithms, and people will watch him, but they will sit there and most of them will call him names, but he will have views. That is different than having fans. When you have fans, me for example, when I got canceled, they say, where's Tate? Where is he? I'll go anywhere he is. I'll download any app. I'll uninstall the other apps. I'll take his content and post it on the platforms they don't want him on. Where is Tate? That's a fan. And that's different. When you only have viewers, you need the algo. Yeah. I don't need the algo. As long as people know where I am, they're gonna come.
You think he's an idiot?
No, I know he's an idiot. He's not thinking that far ahead. He's literally, someone has told him, say this, and he says it. Doesn't, and it's not just me. There's been loads of examples, and I put it on my podcast on Rumble, where we went through all the times where something came up, some controversial subject that people were discussing, is this good for the public consciousness? And the answer was always basically no. Is this necessary for children to be consumed? The answer was always basically no. But it was purported by the Hollywood elites, and Logan was always the number one person sticking up. He is bought and sold by somebody, whether his management team, whoever they are, they think it's good for him to act this particular way. He does not think for himself. He says what he is told to say.
But isn't that Hollywood in general?
Completely, right? The Matrix.
Exactly.
The Matrix, so we agree. The Matrix. The agents of the Matrix. Some minds are not ready to be freed. And those who are not ready to be freed are gonna sit there and they're gonna defend the system. What does Morpheus say himself? He's sitting there defending the system. Logan Paul is gonna sit and pretend that the world is gonna be a better place if you remove all opposing ideas. And he's gonna sit there and say that because he's a moron. Anyone with a brain understands that if you care about your children and your children's children, they need to live in a world full of healthy competition, exactly as you said. As soon as you remove all opposing viewpoints or all competition, you end in tyranny. And anyone with a brain will sit and say, if he had any kind of character, he'd say, I completely do not agree with what Tate said. However, deplatform deplatforming is wrong because of X. He doesn't have to talk about me or what I've said. He can sit there and say, no, deplatforming is wrong because we need to have opposing viewpoints, opposing ideals. Idea A, idea B, the truth is perhaps in the middle. He has no intellect.
You
He's
can
no
disagree
intelligence.
with somebody.
He can't do that. He's not smart enough.
Yeah.
Tell me when he's good again. He's a bought and sold individual. When my hero arc completes, because we're at a transition stage, when my hero arc completes, and much like Batman, people understand that we thought he was the bad guy, but realized we needed him. And when I come back to save Gotham and the hero arc completes, you'll see him and his little boyfriend back on Instagram saying, Tate's funny, and swap again, because it's allowed. That's all he is. He's
That's
a
your
mouthpiece.
prediction for him.
Not a prediction, it's absolute matter of fact. Especially, it also couples in with the fact that he's extremely jealous of my brother and I's success, because my brother and I's success is not based on the same successes that he enjoyed. His success is based on being a clown. That's why he has viewers. He puts on a Pokemon suit and he jumps around like a clown. He doesn't sit there and give ideas or say things that make people think to the point where they genuinely resonate with your mindset. He's not intelligent enough for that. He's a performing clown as opposed to a philosopher. So they're different opposite things, and he knows that, and it upsets him. He can't sit in front of a camera by himself and say words that are going to inspire the crowds of any city in the world to shout your name. If I were to walk through Madrid right now, there would be young people shouting my name. Top G, Top G. That's because of what I say. He puts on a Pokemon suit and does a dance. He's an entertainer. He's not a thinker. The difference between a fan and a viewer.
That's what goes back to your
It goes back to the initial point. He has viewers because he's a clown. Clowns can have viewers, that's fine. And you need an algorithm and you need a platform for that. But if you have genuine fans, like I do, they ban me. People are like, to this day, where is Tate? And they will go anywhere I am. Anywhere I am, they will come because they don't believe they can find my rhetoric or my ideas somewhere else. If you ban Logan Paul, they can find another moron to jump around in front of a camera for you. They can promote someone else inside of their algo and steal his entire audience inside of a week. He can disappear and they can replace him. He knows that. That's why he says what he's supposed to say. If I stop being the performing clown, the new performing clown comes, the algo favors him, they put him up there, and he does a stupid dance, and he gets all my viewers. I'm a completely different kettle of fish. Different story.